Hello and welcome back to Jigs on Twitch with another episode of Dark Maverick here, which should be pretty fun. Played this deck last night just at the sort of local F&M and did pretty well with it, so pretty keen to run it back through an actual Legacy League this time around. So not too much different to the actual paper version that I play. The main versions including they run the 2 Savannahs online instead of 2 Bayou, which is correct. Morning, hope you're well. Still a little bit tired, but not much of a morning person, so can't really change much there. So we're running the third Stoneforge Mystic just so we can run the Batterskull in the main deck, which I think is really good against Eldrazi, which I've been seeing a lot of online. So pretty happy to have that. I think normal decks most likely don't go for Batterskull just because you don't need the beatdown strategy. You only usually run 2 Stoneforge Mystics because you have so many Green Sun Zenith targets that you want to keep in. Ramo, good morning. Hope you're doing well down south. And the other sort of tick against Chalice decks is Blessed Alliance over Path to Exile in the sideboard, which I really like. It's also a little bit of a way to get around Arch type of endurance in Reanimator decks, because I've been seeing a lot of that recently and I just can't interact with it in any way. So it was really up between Blessed Alliance or Council's Judgment, and I thought Blessed Alliance was just a little bit quicker and it actually comes in against a lot more decks, which is nice. But that's pretty much the gist of the deck. We do have only 3 Thalias in the main deck, cutting the 4th. Too many times I was just drawing sort of the extra Thalia when I didn't need it. And against decks like D&T or even Eldrazi, you just don't want the dead 2nd or 3rd copy in your hand, which can be pretty rough. We also have Gaddock Teeg as kind of the 4th Thalia to kind of keep away the fair decks and make sure we can still get there on turn 2 if we say turn 1 Noble and turn 2 Green Suns for 2, which is nice. Well, it's hot up here, so I'd rather be cold and rainy, to be fair. But yeah, this deck's really fun to play. Hopefully it's fun to watch. We'll see how we go. We are running 23 lands. The Maze of Ith doesn't really count as a land, so pretty happy just to go ahead with this and see how we go. If you are looking for the deck list as well, you can look on the, I'm assuming, left side of the screen where you can actually click out the Cardboard Live function, which is pretty awesome. Really cool feature there by Wilson Hunter and James Hugh. Fintizic, interesting. This hand's fine. It's very fair. The Thalia is nice. Swords might not be doing anything here, but we'll keep it. If we are against something that's a creature-based deck, this hand is pretty awesome. If it's not, the Wasteland and Thalia are my points of interaction, so we'll see how that goes. Yeah, Ramo, I want to be in that swap too, so if you can help me out that way as well, maybe get us both down there, that'll be sweet. So they mulligan to 6. Which is pretty rough for them. Urborg, okay. Lotus Petal. Thoughtseize. So with this Reanimator, I'm not too unhappy, because we do have both swords. Taking Thalia, interesting. So drawing another land here, I think I'm pretty happy just to play this Wasteland in my second main and go after this Urborg. Of course, if they have another Urborg, it's a little bit annoying because we've just used a Wasteland on a legendary land, but they have gone down to, they're now down to 4 cards, so I'm pretty happy to at least try to take them off mana, which it looks like it is. So happy to play out a land here and pass. So I'm not too sure what this could be. They took Thalia, so they weren't worried about swords. So this is most likely an unfair deck. The Urborg put me off. Unless this is just... I was going to say some sort of black-green Turbo Depths deck. Large Father 3, thank you for the follow. Let me know where you're from. What you are playing Legacy. So I think we're going to sideboard for black-green Depths. I think that's probably the safest bet. Whoa. Did I just click out of... Ah, that's why. We won in a league. Ah, that's hilarious. Cool. Okay. It was just a one-off match. Coolio. Yes, that is very true. That's exactly what happened. Yeah, I was gonna say actually the league match loading times have been pretty bad as of late. I think a lot of people either just don't like my time zone, or we have more people playing Arena that have just strayed away from Legacy and Eternal Magic at the moment. But yeah, it's still good to see a pretty healthy online meta. Where I'm from in Brisbane, we have 3 nights of Legacy a week now, which is pretty awesome. Yeah, if you are watching from Australia and you are in need of any Legacy singles, you should definitely check out mtgmate.com.au. I believe they also ship internationally, and you can get 5% off with the code word Doogs, which is pretty awesome. So if you are in the need for speed through cards, definitely check out MTGmate. They also have a really good buy list and offer you more for store credit. So it's kind of a win-win, which is pretty awesome. I think last time we played Maverick, we did a 4-1, which is pretty good. It would be nice to get that 5-0, but it's always that one matchup where you're just like, I'm not going to win this, which is pretty rough. But I think Maverick right now is positioned pretty well. I think it's nice to have a lot of sort of toolbox effects with Green Sun Zenith to be able to have a silver bullet for a lot of matchups. You have Gaddock Teeg. I know I was playing against Mono Blue Delver and it had Scryb Ranger out, and it just felt really good. But yeah, Night of the Reliquary is really nice. Wasteland's insane, so being able to chain those together while growing your Knight is pretty awesome. And then just to go back to Lonely Mother runes, just to keep it all together and protect your threats is pretty cool. It's definitely a very fair deck. It doesn't do great against decks that win on turn sort of 1 to 3. But we do have some outs, and the ability to play Noble Hierarch turn 1 definitely gives us a lot more of those outs, which is nice. I'd love to see the schedule of the grinders here that are going for trophies, and just seeing how many games they actually play, because I'm pretty sure they don't play that much. They just do really well often. But I think London actually has a bit of a strategy where if he loses the first match of his league, he'll drop from the league and then just join a new one. That could be wrong. It could be the first 2, or we might have dropped that altogether. But very cool to see him on top. I've definitely played him a few times, and he's definitely got me a few times. I think one of my mates, James, actually said that he waited up to 9 minutes for a Legacy League, which is pretty nuts. London plays a lot. Lewis CBR drops after 1 loss. There we go. Also, Colonial Brewing has an awesome IPA. I'll have to check it out. Where is it from? Can I get it from Dan Murphy's? Because if I can get it from Dan Murphy's, then that is great, because I have a Dan Murphy's just down the road. But while we wait, just a reminder that I do stream on Wednesday nights at 7:30 PM Australian Eastern Standard Time, and then on Saturday mornings at 9:30, 10ish. It really depends. I've lost the die roll, so there's This hand's a little worse, especially because we have no lands. That's a hard part of Magic. Otherwise, it would be a rough keep. So we're gonna mulligan this. This hand's fine. So it's quite nice to have interaction turn 1 with Wasteland if we really need it. Thalia. Knight's great with these fetch lands. Knight of Autumn's awesome as a way out of some stuff. So we're gonna keep this. Stoneforge, I don't really care about right now. We have a beater and Knight. We have some sort of toolbox abilities with the Autumn, and then Thalia is good. So we're gonna put this on the bottom and maybe draw into something like a Noble Hierarch or Birds, or even Green Sun Zenith. I'd be happy with. Interesting. I'm going to assume this is going to be a Thalia take, because we're most likely playing against something like Storm. Could also be Grixis. So I think here if I don't draw into a Thalia, I'm most likely just going to Wasteland here. Keeping my opponent off as much mana as possible in the early game before I can actually put something on the board. This technically resets the game, but there's also that added value that they mostly get from their graveyard through cards like Cabal Therapy, or if they are on Grixis, then it might be something like Gomagengla or just a pass back. Which is always nice. Cradle a little bit dead here. Happy to get just Verdant Pass and most likely get Dryad Arbor in my end step. Unless this is Grixis, I might just get a land because I want to be wary of Bolt and Fatal Push. CBR MTG, if it isn't the best content creators within Australia, in my chat. Very cool to welcome you into the Saturday morning while you clean. If this is just a straight up Baleful Strix, that could tell me a lot. Which actually isn't the worst because Knight of Autumn is a pretty nice way out of that. It's gonna be Young Pyro, so this looks like Grixis Delver. So I am still keen just to not get a land there. I don't think I have to play around Stifle. I don't think that's a thing. But I think here I'm actually happy to just fetch up a Forest and a Plains. Just to play around Stifle, just in case it's in there. There's the Plains. Now we can't be Wastelanded on their turn if they are playing Wasteland. I'm not sure if Grixis has enough room for it. I know Delver decks usually tend to sway towards it, but I guess we'll see how that turns out. Holding up a Dryad Arbor block might be viable as well. Grid GM, welcome, and that is very correct. This looks like a Gomag. Yeah, wow, okay. Stoneforge is nice. I think I'm happy just playing Stoneforge here and playing around Days. I think Knight's then probably best as... Well, they're going to force it, okay. So down to one card. Next turn I'll be taking 9, going down to 8. 2, 5. So Knight would be a 5/5. So if I play Knight, I have to trade with the Gurmag, which I don't really like. I kind of like playing Knight of Autumn, gaining 4, and then just chumping an Elemental, or not making Young Pyro actually get through. I like keeping Knight around just in case we draw into another land so I can make it a 6/6. So maybe it's just Knight and then actually buy some time by gaining life. Making it a 4/3 doesn't do too much. So if we make it a 4/3, the Gurmag can still attack and they win through Bolt, I guess. They probably win through Bolt anyway. So maybe it's worth just getting the 4, buying a little bit of time, hopefully, and seeing how this ends up. Bit of a slow start. You can definitely see how slow the starts can be without Noble Hierarch or Green Sun Zenith. Yeah, it's definitely interesting to think about if I did keep up that fetch line for Dryad Arbor and maybe chump the Young Pyro, how this game might have been different. Most likely just looking for a removal spell right now for this Knight, or maybe just a bit of burn to finish me off after they swing in. Maybe Fatal Push. Inquisition's pretty good. Most likely taking Knight, because this sword's going to do nothing if I have to block with Knight of Autumn this turn. Interesting to take Sword. They must have another answer then, or just have me dead. So if I take 7, I go to 4, and then they're just most likely got me on the swing back. I don't believe there's a reason to not just chump here. This Knight's doing nothing better. Unless we draw into like Jitte, if that does anything. I think we still have another turn to block, so I'm pretty happy just not blocking here. So now I do have Dryad Arbor as well, which is nice. But it is going to be very tight for sure. They're going to daze it. Interesting. Oh, with Force. Okay, wow. So I'm just dead there. Trout Stuffing. Thanks for the follow, man. Love the name. Let me know where you're from. If you play Legacy, what deck you play. What do we like here? We like Choke. I like Zealous Persecution. I think that's it, just those 4. And I think we'll take out the Qasali Pridemage. The Gaddock Teeg's not doing much. Probably drop down on land, so maybe down on Karakas. always tough. I could slow them down with Canonist. I don't think it's worth it. Knight seemed great. Excavator seems great. I kind of like it all. Maybe a sword. I think hitting... Yeah, I think a sword. I think a sword. I think because we're bringing in some hate for young Pyromancer in Zealous Persecution, we can keep those swords for Gomag Anglers, which is nice. I can't think of too many cards that would come out of their board that would be sort of big crushes against this deck. This hand is fine. I think I want to Dryad Arbor turn 1. Just getting a forest. Delver is fine. Birds is interesting. Knight still gets bolted, so I think I like actually just... I could definitely have done this main step to play around days. So just hope they don't have it. I'm assuming they might have taken it out last night. Inspired Blob, welcome. This is close to my list from last night. Very close. No flip. Okay. The main differences being that in paper I don't have a second Savannah, so I play a Bayou, whereas online I actually get the technically correct second Savannah. I play a third Stoneforge Mystic online, so I play Batterskull. And then in the sideboard, instead of Path to Exile, I play Blessed Alliance, just against Chalice decks like Eldrazi. It's a little bit better. And against like the Mirror-esque type decks, it's kind of nice to play around Mother of Runes. So I kind of hope they play another island and tap out, so that we can play choke around days and just make them hopefully force themselves. They might even be trying to get rid of this Mother of Runes right now. Ponder, okay. Guy's Cradle at the top would be pretty insane. It would mean we'll be able to cast 2 out spells this turn, or even Sword and Equip. No attacks, okay, so not wanting to trade the Mum for the Delver. I don't think I would either. Green Sun's interesting. I think first we'll go for... Choke. And it looks like they just don't have an answer for that, so that's going to do pretty well. Back to boarding. Because they are on the Delver deck, I'm pretty happy to bring in the swords, just so they can't aggro us out. And maybe just go down on one Knight. I'm not sure how good the Knight of Autumn is in this deck. I think I'm pretty happy to take that out. and just continue with this deck. Scrub Ranger seems really nice as well. Yeah, I like how this deck's currently built. Project MTG as well. Thank you for following. Pretty sure I follow you on Twitter. So thanks for the retweet. Pretty sure you're Australian as well, which is very cool. Delver always a scary deck, no matter what you're on. Especially if they go turn 1 Delver flip. It is definitely a race deck, and when you have Young Pyromancer also going wide, it's pretty nuts. This hand's sketchy, but I'm pretty happy to keep it. It's got a... We can just go Windswept into Noble. I'd like to draw another land of a coloured source, for sure. And I really hope this is going to be a ponder instead of an actual threat. Okay. We haven't seen Wasteland from them yet, so I'm pretty happy to actually fetch up a dual land with this Windswept Heath. Nice. So now I'm actually pretty happy just to go Forest into Noble. There's the Wasteland. Wow, okay, so getting that forest was actually quite nice here. Bitter Blossom. Interesting. Batterskull's nice. I don't mind going for Savannah here. And playing a Knight into Days. We'll see how this goes. It is a 4/4, which is nice. Okay. We do have Qasali Pridemage, which is nice. I think this Wasteland's not doing a lot here. You kind of have to use it now. Yep. Go for another Knight. No flip again from the Delver, wow. Another Delver's pretty scary. I'll give him that. Oh, I would love to see Zealous Persecution. Let's be honest. Choke's pretty good as well. But does it do enough? So how much mana do we have? We can play Stoneforge for 2, and then we have 2 up. We could get Jitte, and then attack with Jitte, I believe. We can get Cradle here. Oh, it's going to actually come down. Nice. We'll put it on the Noble. We'll definitely attack in. This is a pretty nice situation where we do get to kill both Delvers. Interesting just to block with one. I don't think there's any reason to not double block there, especially while I'm tapped out. You might as well trade with the Noble Hierarch. So we'll kill the Delver before it flips, and then kill the other Delver before it flips. And now we're in a really nice spot. Of course, this Fairy Bombardment is going to do a lot for fogging them, but I'm going to say it's going to be a tough slog to get through. Especially if they're missing their, yeah, wow. I think here I'm actually happy just to use Stoneforge's ability now and then go and get Wasteland. We'll attack first, just in case they use it for something. No blocks, wow. Wasteland. I'm gonna say this is pretty much uncomebackable, if that's a word. I'm gonna say they can't come back from this, but you never know. There it is. So nice to get the win. Can be pretty tough. I mean, the Delvers didn't flip very often, which works really well for us, which is always nice. We can update the score now to 1-0. But I'd say it's probably a pretty good matchup for us. Just because of how good Wasteland is, getting threats out of bolt range. We didn't see Fatal Push. I don't know if they play Fatal Push, which would have been great answers to the Knight of the Reliquaries. But I will take the win where I get it. Choke, of course, doing a lot of work as well in that game 2, which pretty much just caused an auto concession, which is pretty much what Choke does. Choke chokes me out of the game. Excuse the pun. But yeah, great card. I hate islands, so very happy to get rid of them like that. In that third game, I definitely could have played it slower and played the turn 2 Stoneforge around daze instead of just putting the knight on the stack and then getting dazed. But since I had 2, I wasn't too unfond of just pushing out threats. Especially Knight, if you can get it down and get Wasteland online so early, I do like being a bit more aggressive with it and not playing around days. Maybe if you got to know the islands, you'd hold less resentment for them. That is very true. Yeah, I agree with that. But I don't agree on anyone who plays Island. This hand's fine. Got some nice removal. Got a nice Green Suns for later on. Got a Knight that's going to be pretty big when we put it down. So we'll just keep this. A little bit slow, but if this is like something like mono you show and tell, then it's pretty rough. Gaddock Teeg's a great draw, but not really what we want. Let's just go for Catacombs Pass. Or I could Verdant into Green Suns right now. I don't mind that. Let's just get a Forest for now. They could put us on Elves if they do go off next turn. Coke MTG, not too sure what he is on. Or they're on. Could be a female, of course. Island Pass is a little bit intimidating. I won't lie. Especially if it's like City of Traders or Ancient Tomb that follows it up. Or just a few Lotus Petals, you know. This could also be Storm. Maybe not. Now the Green Suns is nice. Let's go for Teeg here. Teeg against Storm game 1 is pretty much game. So if they don't concede, I'm going to assume they either have something like Chain of Vapor in the main deck, or they are obviously going to force this. It might be on something like Show and Tell. Yeah, nice. Okay, so it gives away a bit of the deck. Happy to go ahead and attack here. If they miss a land next turn, I'm pretty happy just to Green Suns for Knight of Autumn and kill this Lotus Petal. Storm, Sneak and Show, Bizarro. Yeah, definitely an unfair deck. There's the Tomb. So I think we'll definitely hit the Tomb. This will be Intuition. Okay. That is fine. I wonder if that means that they have another Soul Land in their hand. Yeah, Karakas ASAP seems great. I'm assuming they can have a Show and Tell. Unless they're on the Omniscience plan. So if we want Karakas ASAP, we definitely want a Knight of the Reliquary on the field. So they have 4 cards in hand, so hopefully we know one Show and Tell, hopefully the other 2 aren't Threat and Soul Land. Oh, they're just gonna pass! Nice, okay. So... I think we still want to attack. Let's just quickly have a look at the main deck. I don't think there's another Green Suns target that's actually good. Renegade Rallier is interesting. Oh, Renegade Get Back. I don't think Renegade Get Back Gaddock Teeg does much, because if they go off with Cunning Wish, it... I guess if they go off with Cunning Wish, they can just get, like, Echoing Truth out of the board, but... like, maybe that's worth it? So I can... I need something to... yeah, I guess the forest leaves the field. Maybe that's worth it. So I can sack the forest for Gaia's Cradle, Cradle for Renegade Rallier, trigger Get Back Gaddock Teeg, or I can just beat them down. What did they sack to force? They pitched a Flusterstorm. I think I am happy. They did force the Teeg, so maybe it's worth it. So let's, yeah, let's float mana here. We'll sack this forest. We'll get Cradle. We'll Cradle for 3, 4. Green Suns. We'll get Renegade Rallier. Trigger. Get back Gaddock Teeg. So now we haven't held up Karakas, so hopefully they just don't have the Soul Land. Although if they have Omniscience, then it is going to be pretty rough. Perhaps even with that Green Suns, we could have got Qasali Pridemage, so that if they cast Emrakul, we can of course kill the Omniscience in response. Or if they have Cunning Wish, we can also kill the Omniscience in response. But I don't mind this line. They did force the Teeg, so they could be on the Sneak and Show plan as well. My opponent obviously having a hard think, so a little bit scared. Maybe if they want to like play a Lotus Petal and ponder into a Soul Land, or even Brainstorm. Big think. Because they're on the Intuition plane, I'm pretty happy to bring in Surgical against them. It also works really well with Thoughtseize, which is nice. Not really a deck that you'd usually bring in Surgical against, but I think because we have a Hand Disruption and we've also seen Intuition, it's actually worth it. Not too sure what my opponent's doing here. I think the game 1 matchup is pretty rough. Decks like Maverick and D&T don't have much... don't have many answers to Omniscience into Emrakul. At least we do have Qasali Pridemage to try to break it up, but a lot of the time they might just have the Cunning Wish to go off a separate way. I really wish there was like a nudge feature so we could kind of nudge the opponent and see what they're up to. They might even be having connection issues. I'm assuming it's something. It's cool, it's fine. In the meantime, if you guys haven't seen it, Cardboard Live have a feature where you can actually print or piece out the deck, which is very cool. Huge fan of Cardboard Live. They just have it. Come on. pretty good. Can't really do much there. We could have got Qasali Pridemage. That's the only difference. So I'm pretty happy to take out Swords. I'm pretty happy to take out Jitte. We can bring in Surgicals. We can bring in Thoughtseize. We can bring in Choke. We can bring in Canonist. We can bring in Containment Priest. Knight of Autumn's nice off Show and Tell. So we might also take out... Screw seems lackluster. Maybe one Stoneforge, one Batterskull. Maybe even just the Stoneforge package and keep in the sword because it's such a good clock. Maze of Ith can come out. And that's it. Pretty happy with this. Love to play first. This hand's okay. It's not the greatest. We have a turn 1 Noble, which is nice, and with Scryb Ranger we can actually get some added value out of it, with Ramunap getting backland, so... One top, one bottom draw. Okay. So we can untap the Noble and still attack with it, which is nice. Could just have it. That's pretty good. Green Suns, interesting. I don't think there's a great Green Suns target. Can definitely attack in the air for 2. And then we have access to 4 mana. So we'll float a green. Wait. And a white. Brainstorm is fine. I wonder if this is a replacement for intuition or not. Ponder is fine. We'll see what they keep on top. Chose not to shuffle, okay. Do they always run 4 cities? Let's have a look. Might even take them off just Brainstorm. And now we get to see what's in the hand as well. So they have a sneak. Blood Moon, okay. Artisan Island Show and Tell. Let's quickly write this down. Artisan, Moon, Strand, Island, Show, Sneak. And what they bring in? 2 Braids, Pyroclasms. That's really it. They only have the 1 Intuition. Echoing Truth. Okay. Thalia is nice. So I think I might attack first. And then before damage, untap it. I don't think I really mind. That's just with Maze where I actually have to stop. So I'm pretty happy here just to play out Thalia. And then I can also Tireless Tracker, which is pretty nice, so I can untap Knight, returning Forest, play the Savannah, add white, sack this, get Cradle, tap Cradle for 3, play Tracker. Get a clue, crack clue? We don't get a clue, that's fine. That's all we can do. Don't really want a Green Suns for 2, so we can just pass. So they play the island. I think I'm happy to crack 2 clues and see what we get. So we'll get the other Scrub just in case we draw Thoughtseize. Mum's interesting. Crack the other one. Noble, okay. So now we get to at least... Ooh, I have 1 floating. And it looks like they just don't have anything. Okay. So they have the Artisans, which is annoying, so maybe it's worth having 1 or 2 swords in the deck. We also know they have Grizzlebrand. So I might even just go down to just up to 1 swords, just to have 1 in the deck. And maybe it's just another Reliquary coming down. It's not the greatest with Wasteland, so I'm pretty happy just to drop 1. We have Tireless Tracker as another beater, so I'm pretty happy with that. So let's just go ahead with this version. Blessed Alliance doesn't do a hell of a lot. Yeah. Okay. Hand's very fair. I don't think it does enough. We really want something like Thalia or Canonist or Containment Priest in our opening hand. So I think we'll mulligan this, although it's a fine hand. Green Suns for Gaddock Teeg is probably the best we can do next turn, after we Noble for turn 1, and I don't think that's good enough, so we're going to mulligan this. Pretty rough. The Cradle doesn't do a whole lot without a land, or without creatures, of course. We do have the Knight of Autumn for show and tell, which is nice. We can keep and have a land on top, which we have a pretty good out of having. I think this is a little bit better. Teeg, we'll have to put on the bottom. This is where Cradle's a little bit iffy. Of course, Cradle's a great card. It's Redukes pretty much number 1. card in Legacy in regards to power, which is a pretty big statement, but he is an Elves player, so of course Elves playing 4 get to know the most out of it. Do we hit a land? Thalia, interesting, okay. Just gonna pass back. Okay, I guess we put in the Knight. Trigger, destroy this. And if they just have Cunning Wish, then it's just game anyway. Wow, okay. Now our Cradle's turned on, which is pretty awesome. So this hand actually worked out pretty well so far. Scrub Ranger, interesting. This, of course, doesn't do much against Pyroclasm, but I think we have to go wide a little bit, at least to get out mana. Preordain's fine. Oh, I could nearly Green Suns. I can Green Suns for Ramunap and get Wasteland back, which is quite nice. Sword's interesting. Sword I can play and equip. So Sword gets me out of a Pyroclasm pretty well. But at the same time I like just going after the mana, I think. Four, five. Oh no, four's enough. No, we need 5. Sword does put our opponent on a turn 2 clock, which is nice. I kind of like Sword because if they're Pyroclasming next turn, then it means that we're most likely winning this race. It also draws us a card to see if we can draw something off to show and tell in. We'll put it on the Thalia because that's the card we most care about here. And then because the Exalted's only 1, it's worth attacking him with both creatures. Choke's pretty funny. Can't do anything else, so let's just pass back. Yeah, I could have played Mum as well. That's very true. And then I'm going to have it, so that feels pretty good. Definitely a lot of lines there, especially with Ramunap. Like, I'm never sure if going after their mana is worth it, even if they have some other stuff. The Evil Mailman, thank you for not delivering my mail on Tuesday. You actually did me a solid. But thanks for following. Let me know where you're from. If you play Legacy, that'd be pretty cool. So let's update that score. Currently 2-0, currently 4-2. Yeah, I think it's just correct if we go ahead with playing the Mum first, and then of course Cradle taps for 5, which is nice. So you can still tap 1 more mana dork and Cradle to play the sword and equip. But yeah, pretty lucky. I mean, we didn't really see much of our sideboard. Thoughtseize was in there. Saw a few other cards like Canonist or Containment Priest we didn't get to see. Pittsburgh, nice. Used to play Legacy, don't have many opportunities for it these days. Oh, that's sad. Is that mainly because of your local player base kind of moving away from Legacy, or just time in life? Captain Hadcock, thank you very much for the follow. Let me know where you're from. If you play Legacy, favorite deck, maybe you're traveling this year for a bit of Legacy as well. Is that Cleric Stompy legend known as Matsol? It is. I have no idea. Local scene doesn't have too many players and more old schoolmates MTG at the moment. That's cool. That's sick. Just got my 5-0 with it as well. Nice. That's very cool. What deck is that? Ah, it's Julian. Interesting. Okay. This hand's pretty rough. So we don't have a great Green Sun's target for elves, I don't believe. We only have the 2 lands here, which is rough. Dryad Arbor is also a little bit interesting. I think we have to mulligan this because we can't even turn 1 swords and turn 2 Thalia. I think it's a little bit too slow. We want a Stoneforge start, so all good. So let's mulligan this. Not great either. Teeg is great against them because it hits Green Sun Zenith and also Natural Order, and we don't have a Green Sun Zenith currently. So I'm happy to keep this and hopefully keep a land on top. I think we'll bottom this, and then we'll just play a land and pass. Because we've had what, like 5 cards in hand, 5 cards in a row that aren't lands. I'm gonna draw and then fetch. Interesting. That is fine. I could Swords this Dryad Arbor, but because Wasteland's also pretty good as an out for this, I'm pretty happy to draw here. That's pretty rough. Not too much we could do there. Glimpse is pretty good. I think I'll see what they cast first. So if they go Cradle into Elvish, then at least we can kill this Wirewood in response. Yeah. Wasteland's not great. The issue here is that if we wasteland them and don't draw a land, we're pretty much dead. Playing the Stoneforge is a little bit slow now without mana dorks out turn 1 or 2. The Thalia won't do a whole lot, so I think it's actually worth just going after their mana a little bit. Cradle's, it's interesting because Cradle's good because it taps for 2. If we take care of the Dryad Arbor, we're taking care of an elf and a land, so Cradle would be only tapping for 1. Of course, they'd most likely have 2 more lands and more creatures in hand to actually play out before they tap the Cradle for mana. I think we can't let them untap with the Cradle. And I'd like to try to draw into another colored source to play this Gaddock Teeg. The downside there is that if they have another Cradle, then of course this is just going to be game. I think we'll just 4 here. Yeah. That's where it's rough. Dryad Arbor is an elf. Dryad Arbor is a forest dryad. It is not an elf. Haha, thank you very much. Beast Whisperer is pretty good. Forest Dryad is type. So at least here we can see the different elves that it has in a deck. Interesting that they're running Beast Whisperer, which of course is pretty good value. Pretty nuts how wide elves can go. Another glimpse? This is where you gotta just like sit back and appreciate the deck and what it does so well. I mean, this is what, turn 3? Yeah, it's weird that Emrakul keeps showing up. It's a glitch in the game. I'm not too sure what actually triggers it, but I've definitely seen it before. Even when I put an Aether Vial in the stack, sometimes it comes across. Or when you exile something with Thought Knot Seer. It's pretty funny. Hopefully he doesn't deck himself. I'm assuming he won't. We're most likely going to be looking at a Crater Hoof pretty soon. This is so stupid. You got me. You got me. Nice. Alright, so what do we like in the sideboard? Zealous Persecution is great. Canonist is great, and I really like Containment Priest. I'm not too sure on Thoughtseize and how good Thoughtseize is. I think it's a maybe. We're looking at something taking out. We'll take out the Thalias. We'll probably take out the Qasali Pridemage. Scrub Ranger is nice because it actually allows us to use our mana a lot more effectively. Renegade Rallier is okay if they have Abrupt Decay for one of these things. Knight of Autumn probably can stay in just in case they have something like Sylvan Library. Excavate is probably overkill. Probably don't need the Batterskull. Can probably take out the Maze of Ith as well. And maybe just cut down on a mum. And we can go from there. It's definitely pretty rough. I think these fair matchups against elves have a really rough time of keeping up, especially because a lot of our taxing effects are non-creature spells. Would love to play first. This hand's fine. We can do turn 1 Wasteland into Stoneforge, turn 1 Thoughtseize into Stoneforge. Okay. So I think I'll take the creature here. Let's just have a quick look. So Glimpse, Elves, Trophy, Forest, Verdant, Windswept. So if I take the trophy, it's actually quite nice. Because I can still go ahead with my game plan. The Elves is kind of already hit by Zealous Persecution. Glimpse is annoying, but I can't take both, so I think I'll take the trophy. Trophy, Forest, Elf. Sure. I think I'm still happy here going for Stoneforge. Most likely Jide. And just passing turn. Glimpse is pretty good. Double Glimpse is pretty good as well. There goes Verdant. Korean Ranger, interesting. I think it's worth Thoughtseizing them for sure. I can't do Zealous Persecution this turn. I think it's Quirion. So we got Windswept, Forest, Druid, Birchlaw. Maybe it's the Birchlaw that I'm afraid of. Oh, I'm an idiot. Of course. That's a punt. Yeah, I don't think you care about actually trading here. Please just pass. Please just pass. I think it's worth just passing and seeing if they actually get Dryad Arbor at their end step so I can Zealous it. Hopefully. Ooh. They can return it with Scavenging Ranger. But still. So we get that one. Pretty lucky. Shock drops 95. Made it just in time to see that massive blowout. Yeah, pretty lucky. The Thought Seizers helped, but luckily we get to go back into another game. I'm not sure I'll change anything. I still like what we have. So we'll just submit the same deck. The one reason, therefore, waiting for them to get the Dryad Arbor, even though Julian can return it to his hand, it means he'll be missing his land drop, which is nice. This hand's pretty rough. We didn't have access to black mana. We do have a Canonist. I think we'll keep it. It's just got so many good cards in it that a live draw of a fetch land or a dual land is just so good. $61 card special. Yeah, I couldn't cut anything, and I wanted to play a 23rd land, so I don't mind just playing Canonist and passing. Holding up swords. I think here, just because of Cradle, I'll probably actually just swords the Wirewood here. It's just so annoying, and it does take them off the ability to just go to the main phase, play a Cradle, and tap it for 3. Zealous. Ooh, Wasteland's not great. I don't mind here actually green sunning for 1 for Birds of Paradise, so next turn we do have black mana. No blocks. Wow, okay. This is looking pretty rough. I might as well just do it now just to get the extra buff. Ah, we can't, of course. That's fine. But now I've kind of showed what I have, so I might as well do it in their upkeep. Of course, that makes black, that makes white. Yeah, that's really rough. So we get there, which is nice, but I think we could definitely see that Julian there stumbled pretty badly. Zealous Persecution just coming at the right time. And then Canonist as well. I mean, Canonist is so much different without... Yeah, sadly, yeah, definitely stumbled there. Zealous Persecution was awesome. That turn 1 was... That game 1 was pretty amazing. When you... I was like, will he deck himself? But of course, you didn't, which is fair enough. I was very fortunate to hit Zealous Persecution in both those games, or just actual hate cards where you don't have a trophy for. Yeah, it's nice to beat elves, even if it is me not so much. It's more my opponent, of course, just not hitting what they needed to. Oh, of course, you can't actually deck yourself as long as you have green suns as draw effects. Oh, of course, yeah, okay. Yeah. I think I actually saw Sam Black on camera do that, where he was just churning through his deck and he was trying to get to lethal, but he didn't. I think his opponent was on like 20... on some absurd amount of life, but he had to get through with like 2 creatures, including Hoof. How do you find Beast Whisperer, Julian? I think that card's really sweet. Yeah, it does. Like the draw effect is definitely insane in elves, and the body's pretty good as well. Callum, good morning. Hope you're well. Not sure if it's good. I'm trying out all sorts of versions right now. Yeah, I've seen some of your versions and they look really fun. But they of course still look really competitive as well, which is awesome. But yeah, it's very cool, especially with elves where you kind of think there's a set deck list, but yeah, good for you, man. I love seeing some sort of changes in the deck. It's not the worst hand. It's not really a 5-lander as we have Maze and Wasteland. We have Dryad Arbor and Stoneforge as creatures through this fetch. In a competitive event like this, I wouldn't keep this hand, but at the same time, I'd actually love to see if keeping a hand like this actually can get there. The Maze is, of course, doing nothing if we're playing against Storm. I have no idea who iToken is. But yeah, I don't mind keeping this. I think the upside of having sort of Wastelands early game is really nice. The Maze can be okay, but I'm actually going to keep this. Straight to Island isn't great. Which is fine. I think our play will be Windswept into Dryad Arbor if we don't already draw into Green Suns. But even if we draw into Green Suns, I'm pretty happy to actually just leave this Windswept Heath for the Dryad Arbor and leave the Green Suns for something later on. Maybe something like Gaddock Teeg against the blue deck. So another Wasteland isn't ideal. So happy just to play the Windswept Heath and pass. Will you be doing a draft league anytime soon? It'd be nice to get your perspective on things on the current draft format. I am the last person to ask about draft. I do enjoy it. I usually, currently in Allegiance, I've been playing a lot of Rakdos, which is pretty fun. But yeah, it would be cool to get someone on who's actually got some draft experience to talk about it on the stream and maybe have a go-through arena. I know there's definitely a few dedicated drafters in Brisbane, which is cool, so that's definitely something that I would be open to. Yeah, this could definitely be show and tell, which is pretty rough. We have a few sideboard cards. Our main deck isn't really that great against it. If they're going to destroy this Arbor in the end step, it shows that we're not really on... Yeah, of course, if they destroyed the Dryad Arbor in their end step, it kind of shows that they're probably not on show and tell, and most likely on something like Grixis, but going for the early basic is probably a show sign that they're not. Yeah, Wolf would be. Okay, so they're actually going to force this Stoneforge, which is interesting. That is fine. Can you explain why you'd fetch an Arbor versus a real land with your Heath? Yeah, so pretty much, currently we have a land hand, and I really wanted to get a threat with that Windswept Heath to have something on board. And it's really just a case of, if I lose this land to a removal spell, it's going to be fine. Because we have so many in hand, I'm not really scared of missing my drop for turn. So actually getting a threat on board is nice. Oh, this could of course be Stoneblade. Okay, this looks like blue-white Stoneblade. Which, True Name's pretty rough. I don't believe we have an out to True Name in the main deck. I think it's most likely worth here just going after the Tundra. And keeping this Green Suns for something like a Knight of the Reliquary. We can't really attack. So even if they're like a back to basics deck, then this hand was definitely pretty terrible. Maze of Ith does nothing against True Name, so if they do get down another creature like Batterskull, the Germ on Batterskull, or Stoneforge Mystic, this Maze can do something, but I'm going to assume their game plan now is just to kind of protect the Queen in True Name Nemesis, equip it with a few equipments, and just get through it with a ton of damage. Like if this is Jitte, that'll be pretty rough. Yeah, this is going to be pretty much game. We could draw into Qasali Pridemage or Knight of Autumn, which isn't too bad. The issue there being that this Jitte is most likely going after the Dryad Arbor. Yeah, Zealous Persecution versus True Name is great, and it's definitely one of the reasons why it's in the deck. Blessed Alliance as well is really nice. So we've taken out we've taken out Path to Exile on the sideboard to mainly hinge against decks that play Chalice of the Void. So things like Eldrazi, and even Archetype of Endurance in Reanimate is pretty rough. But hopefully they don't kill his Dryad Arbor straight away. That would be nice. xCloud, thank you very much for hosting. That's really nice. If you're in chat, let me know how you did with your stream. Scryb Ranger. I'm kind of saving this Green Suns for a Knight of the Autumn. So we'll see how that goes. Qasali Pridemage is the other out, but it is going to be pretty rough. because we won't have mana up to actually activate the Qasali at the same time, so it's worth waiting. Doogs, how do you pronounce your name? Doogs. Some say Dougs, but yeah, Doogs is probably the correct pronunciation. This is definitely just game. So obviously the hand we kept did not work out, which is fine. That's all part of the learning curve. But yeah, Doogs with double O is pretty much the same. So we might as well see if we can get some value out of this Jitte. I'm assuming this Green Suns is actually going to be forced or counterspelled or spell pierced, so we'll see how this ends up. Another land isn't great. Yeah, xCloud is a very good D&T streamer. So if you like D&T, definitely check him out. I know I've definitely watched him at work sometimes, which I wouldn't go for, but yeah, it can be pretty rough. It can be a really good time, especially when you're at work. Oh, sweet. Okay, so we're gonna get Night of Autumn, and we'll destroy this. Foxrose, thank you very much. So we're getting rid of the Jitte, which is definitely step one. The true name's not coming off the board this game, so they do currently have a 4-turn clock. So we are looking to draw into something like Night of the Reliquary and just try to bash them out of this before they can bash us, which is definitely tough. I mean, we have 4 Green Sun Zenith and 4 Knights in the deck, which is nice. So we have 8 good live draws. But yeah, so we kept a Maze of Ith, double Wasteland, 2 land with a fetch land for Dryad Arbor, Stoneforge hand, which definitely in the blind is a very risky hand to keep, but I was pretty keen to see how it actually turned out. Obviously this game not very good. It might have been a little bit different if we didn't draw the additional 4 lands, but that's just Magic sometimes, and you just gotta fight through it. And you know, the plus side is that I've been able to hit all my land drops, so that later on maybe something like a Spell Pierce isn't that great. But this is going to be really rough, especially if they get a Batterskull into play. Batterskull on True Name is pretty much game as well. Sadly, Maze of Ith can't target the True Name because, of course, it has protection from us. Snapcaster. So Snapcaster actually changes the math as well, so it goes down to 2 turns. So Choke seems really good against this list as well, which is nice. So I think we'll be bringing in Thoughtseize, Choke, Zealous Persecution, maybe a Blessed Alliance. Canonist, not the greatest. It's nice against Snapcaster and to keep them down on casting multiple spells in a turn, but it's not really what we want to be doing here. Containment Priest doesn't do anything. It'd be interesting to see what we take out. There's the Knight, which is okay, but a little bit late to the party. And this could just be a counterspell. So that is game. So let's look at the board. So what do we like? We like the Chokes. We like the Zealous Persecutions. Shock Drops 95, thank you very much for the follow. I like the Knight. I don't mind the Thought Seizers, especially because it can really take something that they're keeping, it can really take a threat like True Name. It can take an equipment. It's just a case of what we want to take out in this deck. I'm not too sure how good Gaddock Teeg is, most likely stopping Jace and Force of Will, so I think Gaddock's a little bit narrow. Scavenging Ooze can interact with Snapcaster Mage, but I think we can change that up. Is Maverick your main legacy deck, or do you change decks often? I would say Death and Taxes is probably the main deck, but Maverick definitely has a big piece of my heart. But I actually have something in the works that's pretty big for Maverick as well as a deck and an archetype, which is cool. So that's currently in the works, and should be live in a few months. I'm gonna say this Maze of Ith can actually come out as well. Yeah, Maverick's a sweet deck. I think it's got a lot of play to it. There's definitely the argument if the black splash is worth it. I've always been a really good fan of it, so we'll see how that goes. Yo, just a heads up, may want to leave the Discord channel if you're not expecting people to hop on. Sometimes people will jump in looking to see if anyone wants to play. It might be a weird stream experience. Ah, interesting. I did not even think that I was in Discord. Let's quickly have a look at this. Ramunap can most likely come out. It's not really the deck for it. Knights are good as they can beat down pretty well, but against an island deck, Choke is doing what Wasteland is really doing, so I might even cut down on a Knight or two. Tracker is really nice. Of course, the Stoneforge package is still really good. Mum's great. We can probably go down to 2 swords. And then just one more card is most likely going to be Scooze. And that's 61. From your perspective and thoughts, for someone trying to play around with Legacy but have the most commitment to Modern, is there a number of archetypes worth trying to merge from Modern to Legacy, or just build the tier and true decks of Legacy? You should definitely check out CBR MTG, because they actually have a Modern focused... This is a great hand. A porting over. So I actually did a deck tech with CBR MTG, which you can find here, which is all about going from Modern to Legacy with a deck like yeah, with a deck like Maverick. Let's get a Bayou here. Actually, I'm pretty keen to get a Scrubland and then get a Forest with this Windswept Heath, so that if they are back to basic stack, we can still use the Green Suns later on. So we'll go for Scrubland first. Thoughtseize them. Stoneforge, Jace, back to basics. Karakas, Delta. So, we have a nice answer to the back to basics in Qasali Pridemage. The Stoneforge is their only real threat right now. The Jace is going to be coming down pretty late. I don't mind taking the back to basics. I kind of like leaving the Jace. I think Jace is definitely not going to be the end all. So it's either between back to basics and Stoneforge Mystic. It's most likely going to be Stoneforge because it's their only threat. So I'm pretty happy to take the Stoneforge, and then what we can do is play the Thalia next turn. If he gets Karakas, we can Wasteland the Karakas and then replay it. Ah, cool. Okay, let me quickly get out of Discord. Thanks for the heads up. Nice. There we go. Isn't it faster to use Swimming Tool than write everything down? Yeah, it definitely is. That's a great point. Oh, it looks like they're just disconnected, so that is why we are waiting. So yeah, next turn I'm pretty happy to fetch up a forest, play the Thalia, and then attack, see if they play the Karakas and bounce, and if not, we can play the Wasteland, the Karakas, and then replay the Thalia. So there's a Delta. Rally is interesting. I'm pretty happy here just to stay with the same game plan, get a forest, and play Thalia. Hope they haven't drawn into something like Spell Snare. They most likely think they actually have it covered with the Karakas, which is nice, so this Wasteland has a really nice target for next turn if they play it. Stoneforge is pretty good. So there's Karakas. So I think I'm happy here to actually Wasteland the Karakas, play out Qasali, and then attack with Exalted. Yeah, so if you actually look over the stream, you'll see the cardboard live function. So you can click on those cards and the deck list will come up. No white source yet, which is nice. Happy to attack first. And then we can just play Mum and keep up a mana for Qasali Pridemage. You are more than welcome. Still no white, which is great for us. So it might actually... We have just drawn the Noble Hierarch, but last turn it was actually probably worth it actually attacking with both, because we're only gaining one off Exalted. And the Stoneforge isn't going to be trading with anything. My bad. Between the next game, I will actually update that for sure. So here, I'm actually happy to attack with... Yeah. Let's play the Hierarch and attack with the Thalia for 4, because if they play a Snapcaster Mage just to block the Qasali Pridemage, we do have the Mother of Runes, but I don't want them to start to even just have the ability to ambush Viper us with the Snapcaster Mage. Qasali Pridemage actually working really well with Renegade Rallier, but they're just not going to get there. So back from the dead. Still pretty happy with the deck list. Not too much I would change being on the draw. I think I'm pretty happy with this. Always pretty scary playing against true name decks. Fair decks like Maverick usually don't have too many good outs. This hand's interesting. So we have a turn 2 play in Stoneforge Mystic, but currently we have 3 cards that we can't cast. It's pretty risky keeping it. I think it's worth a mulligan. We do get a draw out of it, so we could look for a land on top, but I'm not really the type of guy that likes to just hope for a green source on top, so we'll mulligan down to a pretty good hand. We'll actually keep this. Thoughtseize on top is fine. So the great thing about Choke is that playing a Wasteland deck, a lot of players in games 2 and 3 go for basics early on, so their mana doesn't get disrupted by Wasteland. But what my opponent doesn't know is that I also play Choke in the board. So bringing in Choke actually really allows me to take advantage of them going for non-basic lands, which is sweet. I think here I'm actually happy just to Thoughtseize straight up. To be fair, we could also get a Bayou, get Green Suns, get Dryad Arbor. Yeah, I kind of like that, because then we can do some stuff with Scryb Ranger next turn as well. And this does accelerate us as well, which is nice. We're not playing around back to basics, but I feel like we have enough answers in the deck to actually do it. Akhlime, hello. Ooh. Okay, so they're going to force it, which is interesting. To be fair, Green Suns does give sort of replenishing value. There's the Dryad Arbor. Maybe I just want to play Karakas Pass and hold up Scryb Ranger. I think I'm pretty happy with that. And then next turn, I believe we can cast Choke. This could be a Brainstorm. Okay. So what I'm scared of is maybe another counterspell. True Name Nemesis, of course, is always pretty rough. Back to basics is annoying. I'm trying to maybe get to a position where I can Thoughtseize and then Choke in the same turn, so I know. I'm assuming they might have brought in Disenchant, so that's definitely something to look out for as well. Okay. Interesting. I think we'll Thoughtseize first. AK probably taking the verdict, so Ponder and CJ. Mainly just because we want to go wide not only through creatures but also right now through mana. So if they Supreme Verdict, we're going to get caught off. So I'm happy here just to attack first. And then we can use the ability to untap this, return the Bayou, play the Bayou, play Stoneforge. I know I just get Sword here because it's such a good threat and it makes every creature a threat. If they play a land, we know it's not... I really want my opponent to tap out. I don't think they'd keep a counterspell in hand. Because of the Sword of Fire and Ice being the threat right now, and it coming through Stoneforge uncounterable, they most likely are looking for removal spells. So we know they kept Flooded Strand. Ooh. So they might tap out here. So they're going to name most likely Stoneforge Mystic. Which is interesting they didn't wait a turn to see if I'd actually play the sword. They voted for Scryb Ranger. Okay. So now we know they have AK in hand. So do we get a land up top? We do. Oh, that feels good. Put the chokehold on. Haha. So they do get to untap with double planes, but it does take them off this AK for now. So I think now I'm pretty happy just to play Dryad Arbor and hold up Sword. And keep this Green Suns until I actually know what I want to go after. Yeah, it does feel really good, especially when they had the Council's Judgment. Wow, they're going for knowledge. So maybe digging for something like Disenchant. Alright, so let's put in this sword. Thoughtseize is nice. I like Thoughtseizing before to see if they have a removal, so we don't waste an equip. Spell Snare and Jace. Well, we can definitely just hit Jace. Now we can play a land for turn. Wasteland isn't doing much, and Karakas isn't doing much, so we can equip the sword to the Dryad Arbor. We're currently 3-0, and hopefully after this we're 4-0. So I think we'll finish up at the end of the stream, but I'll see how we go. Night of Autumn's nice, but now we can just pass back and have a clock already there. There's a Flooded Strand, so they still have a Spell Snare in hand. It'll be interesting to see what the other card is, if we do get to see it. Zealous is nice, so we'll definitely go to combat first. We'll attack with both. Snapcaster is fine. We'll see what they target. We do have the Zealous Persecution, which is, yeah, really nice against Snapcaster. They're going to target Brainstorm. I think in response, it's actually worth just putting off this Zealous. And that's most likely going to be game. Or very close to it. They need to Brainstorm. They need to fetch Brainstorm into Sword. And then they still have a pretty bad turn next turn with no islands open. Oh, they do have the Spell Snare. But it doesn't do much. They're going to go down and we're up to 4-0. Very nice. Always feels nice. So I believe that was another 4. 8-4. Alright. So let's just go straight into this last one and see how we go up. But yeah, Stoneblade there in the games 2 and 3 is not hitting what they really needed to. No removal in Swords of Plowshares. I'm sure they brought in something like Disenchant. They did have the one Council's Judgment, but I kind of feel like they used it a bit early. It really didn't do much for the game. We already had the sword in hand. We had Choke coming down, which of course is a great target for the conscripts. So did you go undefeated last night? I did go undefeated last night. So the trail continues, which is always pretty good, especially when the luck is in your favor. But yeah, really happy with the deck so far. It's been a pretty sweet deck, especially in paper. Green Sun Zenith is just such a huge card. I have tried to fit in Leovold into the deck. I did used to play one Trop and one Leovold as a Green Sun target, and then also something you can cast off Trop, Noble Hierarch, and Birds of Paradise, but it's always tough, and especially with the Choke, sometimes the Trop isn't the greatest. Palk 52. Okay. This hand's fine. This hand's a great hand. So we get to fetch turn 1 for Noble. We then have Thalia and Screws to follow up. Cradle's really nice. Wasteland, some interaction as well. This is a pretty stellar hand. If the Scrubland was something like Swords to Plowshares, then it would be a pretty much a perfect hand. Would have mana ramp, would have non-creature hate, and would also have a beater in Screws. Yeah, pretty much playing the same list last night. So, in paper, I don't have... Ooh, this is never a good start. Mox Opal, interesting. Lion's Eye. Ponder. This could just be game. So yeah, in paper I have 2 Bayous. I don't have 2 Savannahs. Online I play 2 Savannahs because it's correct. And then online I play Blessed Alliance over Path to Exile in the sideboard. Empty? Did they just have it? It's pretty good. I can't really beat this. Yeah, Mox Opal's been showing up in Storm. I think we'll just concede there. We can't beat Empty. I don't think we even show what we're on. 16, yeah, we can't beat 16. Okay. So what do we like? We like Thoughtseize, we like Surgical, we like Canonist, we like Zealous, and we like Knight. I don't like Swords, I don't like Renegade Rallier, Pridemage is okay, Scryb Ranger can come out. Whelp, yeah, Whelp is a pretty good, yeah, can't say much more. Ramunap can come out. Knight can most likely come out. Maybe just this. This seems pretty good. Knight's okay as a beater, but I think we have enough hate that can also beat down like Thalia, Ooze, Canonist, which is pretty good. This definitely seems pretty rough, but I'm happy to keep what we have here. I would love to play first. This hand's pretty poor. So the Batterskull's dead. The Zealous Persecution can't be cast. We don't have any hate early on, so we'll mulligan this. And this hand's fine. We'll keep it. It doesn't matter because we're scrying anyway. We're going to be, sorry, with the Verdant. So I'm pretty happy here to actually just go after Thoughtseize. With Bayou. And we have LED, Mox, Tutor, Duress, Maya, Delta. So I think here I'll take the Tutor. The Duress is most likely going to come and take this Zealous Persecution, but it gives us a turn to actually play one of these 2 cards, which is nice. So I'm pretty happy taking the Tutor here. Duress is fine. We do have another Zealous, which is nice to enter empty. I would love another land, but we don't get it. So we'll just hope we don't die this turn. It's that easy. Yeah, it's definitely easier, but I actually like just writing them down and actually taking into consideration what they have. Sometimes when you take a photo, you kind of just look at the hand, you don't read it. So I like writing it down because then I actually, yeah, know what's in the hand and actually, yeah, give it a good read. Chose to shuffle, which is nice. I believe it does as well through here. But it doesn't take into consideration cards that you've already seen and cards you haven't seen. I think we'll play the Canonist. Just to slow things down. And then, if I draw it, I don't believe they would have brought in Massacre because they didn't know what we were on. In case it comes up in MTGO somehow through chat or something if they're also streaming. But I'll definitely not play another land if it is a Plains, just to stay away from Massacre. Yeah, I'm a writer. That's just what I do. Did I just cut out? There's Maya, okay. You're still here. Thank you, HC Fox. Okay. Cradle's pretty nice. There's not much I can do with it. I think I want to just get Knight down. And then just pass turn. Interesting. Be interesting to see what they true to 4. Oh, it doesn't even show. If you have no cards in hand, instead search your library for a card, put it into your hand, then shuffle your library. I wonder if it was Pyroclasm. If it was Pyroclasm, it's definitely worth at least having a look. So I think we'll definitely take out the tutors first. Burning Wish. Okay. Can't cast anything else, so I'm pretty happy just to pass turn here. I don't really want to attack with the knight. It definitely would have been, for sure. But of course, if they had Pyroclasm, I didn't really want to play the Teeg into it. Or the Mother Runes for that stage. It'll be interesting to see what they actually get off the Burning Wish. Grape Shot, okay. Probably just Windswept and then crack Windswept. Now I'm pretty happy going for the beatdown. Mum's nice because it allows me to get through the goblins unless they want to throw the Grape Shot away at this Mother of Runes. Okay. I think it's the same thing. I think it's just run back. There's not too much to change. Goblins are just annoying. Just the go wide strategy is pretty rough. Would love to get it. I always find that these fair decks against fast combo like this is Tez, I assume. This is Ant. No, this is Tez. Either way, yeah, I find them pretty difficult. The Thoughtseizers really help. The Canonists and Thalias and Teegs really help just to slow them down. A little bit annoying now that they get to just, they know what's coming back. Like they know that it's going to be Maverick for game 3, of course. The previous game they didn't know what they were on. This hand's fine, I think. We have the Zealous Persecution, which is nice. We have a turn 1 play in Thoughtseize as well. Hope they don't get a turn 1 kill like first game. Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's part of Magic. It's not that great for a viewer. It's not that great for me as an opponent. There is sometimes that it is nice to see decks go off turn 1 that can go off turn 1. Although we have Thoughtseize and Zealous Persecution in hand, it's kind of nice that this hand isn't too dead just to removal. It looks like they're just trying to go off now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6. So maybe getting 12? Yeah. So we do have the Zealous, which is nice. So I'm still happy just casting this turn 1 birds. They have no cards in hand, so if they draw Duress, they draw Duress. If they don't, they don't. We'll get Scrubland. Black, white, Zealous. Pass back. I like playing Thalia. Play Mum. Pass turn. Good Thoughtseize, but I kind of like playing out this Tireless Tracker. I don't want to go too low in life, that's the thing. Stoneforge is nice. I might Thoughtseize before everything, just to see what they have. Another empty. We'll take that. We'll then fetch Savannah. Oh yeah. Jitte. So just really looking to bypass Grape Shot. Cradle's nice because Cradle allows us to... Is this just like... Put in Batterskull, equip Batterskull? To Thalia? Maybe just Tireless, we gain more life that way. That is fine if we lose it. Attack, attack. The dream is happening. The dream is happening. Come on, 5-0. Come on. Please. Surely there's nothing. There we go. Feels good. Feels good. Nice. So let's look at the deck. Let's look at the deck. I've been pretty happy with it so far. Renegade Rallier is nice. We haven't really interacted that much with it, so it could be another slot. I'm still not sold either on Maze of Ith. So let's... Nice. That felt good. That felt good. 10-5. Yeah, so Maze of Ith could definitely be something else. There are hands where you keep a land hand with Maze of Ith that just doesn't feel great. The Renegade Rallier, of course, could be maybe the 4th Thalia, just so we're drawing it more. I didn't mind 3 Stoneforges and 3 equipment. That felt really good. Especially with Cradle. Cradle's also a great way to put out Batterskull, so it's not as dead in your hand like some other games. Blessed Alliance was fine. I like it more than Path to Exile in Maverick because it can play around Chalice for 1, which is nice. I was also going to try it in D&T just because it also gets rid of True Name, which is nice. And it plays around Archetype of Endurance in Reanimator, which is pretty rough. The Knight of Autumn's pretty sweet. I'm not sold on having 2 in the main deck because we have the Qasali Pridemage as well. So one big advantage of Qasali over Knight is that, say there's the circumstance your opponent pays a Stoneforge, and then in your end step they put in Batterskull and then get through with Batterskull on their turn. You don't really have a chance to interact with that with Knight of the Autumn, but at least with Qasali Pridemage you can actually sacrifice it at instant speed, so you are able to destroy artifacts and enchantments in their turn, which I think is still relevant. So although Knight of Autumn is just a strict upgrade on Rexage, there's definitely still a pretty good battle for Qasali Pridemage to be in the main deck. Yeah, not too much else. I mean, I've seen some people play another sword in the sideboard, like Light and Shadow. I don't think it's really worth it. I think we have a lot of interaction already with fair decks that we don't really need to worry about pro-white or pro-black. But yeah, that's it. Thank you guys very much for watching. Very cool to get the 5-0. You know what? Let's open some cases. I've never actually opened cases. So we got a few. Would love to get some points out of this. That would be cool. 5 player points. Nice. Oh, and Steam Flogger Boss. Steam Flogger Boss is obviously playable. Play points. Nice. And Utopia Tree. So maybe Tribal Tree is coming to Dukes on Twitch. Most likely not. Let's be honest. Play points. Inferno Titan. A playable card. That's always nice. Play points. Liliana Vest. Yes. That's probably not a playable card in Legacy. I think she's probably the worst Liliana. Mega, welcome. Sadly, we did just 5-0 the stream, and we have finished up. But you're more than welcome to stay in chat while we open these boxes. Getting pretty light on the player points here. Mainly the 5s. I want a 25. Secluded Glen, great card. Great in Fairies. Not a card that I'd play with, but you know, you never know. 45 play points, that's a lot better. Let's just open all of these. Can you just open them all at once? Hey, there we go. Alright, 150 play points, nice. Collective Brutality, nice. Glimpse, interesting. Rule of Law, could have just played it then if we really wanted to. Rebel Bowl, thank you very much for subscribing. Oh, for following. But yeah, guys, that's me. Thank you very much for coming in and watching. I'll be back on Wednesday night at 7:30 PM Australian Eastern Standard Time. So I'm not too sure what that is in the States. I think it's around 5 AM, unfortunately. But yeah, I usually play Maverick and D&T on Wednesday nights and Saturday mornings, like right now. Also been trying out Rug Delver. This is the list. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you guys very much for coming in and letting me know. Come in. Team J-Bro, thank you very much. Very cool to get the 5-0. Very cool to do it in front of you guys. I'll see you guys next time. Enjoy your weekends. Stay safe. Does Gang get the hammer and the wrench or Gnaw? I'm going to say Gnaw. So, unlucky there. But yeah, thank you very much. And